everyone, my name is Brittany and welcome back to my channel. Today, I'll be reading Love Theoretically.
It's Brittany, bitch.
This is the only book of Ali Hazelwood's I have not yet read. This is about theoretical physicists, to my understanding. We are following Elsie, and she is an adjunct professor by day and a fake girlfriend at night, and she ends up falling in love with the older brother, one of her fake girlfriend clients. That's all I really know about this. I'm excited to get into it, except for the Ali Hazelwood condom debacle, which is her characters never use a condom, and the girl is always on birth control. And they're both always clean. And it's very, very frustrating to me as someone who's a very big advocate of safe sex that these very educated scientists are not using condoms because birth control does not protect against STIs. You'd think she would know that after how many books she's written, but she still keeps including it. And the reason it bothers me so much is the fact that these books are so popular and they're about scientists. Like if this was about like a chef and I don't know, a forest ranger, I wouldn't mind as much, but the fact is that both of these people are always in STEM and they're very educated and would know the dangers of having sex without a condom with somebody you don't know. I don't know. It just really drives me nuts. It's one of those weird things about her books that just drives me up a fucking wall. So I hope this book does not fall into that same category. But knowing Ali Hazelwood and how every other one of her fucking books has the same exact trope, I'm sure it's gonna have it in there. So I'm just gonna try to enjoy the ride. I'm planning on finishing this within 48 hours because my brother is not here. He is on a trip, so he is gone and I have the whole house to myself. But the problem is when he's gone, I spend a lot of my time watching movies because he does not like, I would say like 80% of the things that I enjoy in general. And then on top of it, like movies and stuff, he's not a very big movie fan. And I will rewatch certain movies that I just don't get to see that often. I will dead ass watch Pride and Prejudice like twice. I will watch The Notebook at least once. Like I keep watching certain ones over and over that like I just miss seeing. Like I get to watch them like once a year whenever he goes or something. So watching movies is definitely on my priority list. However, I also really like to finish this book because it's kind of like a fun challenge, but that's why I extended it to 48 hours instead of 24 because 24 hours is just, it's a little bit too stressful for me, especially because he's returning in like 48 hours. So I think by the time he's home, I should be finished with this. That makes sense to me. I can surely finish a book in 2 days. And I guess it's also gonna be fun to read this physically because I don't have the audio for this. So this is the only version of this that I have. And so I just gotta read this bad boy physically. What I'm planning on doing this early afternoon is I'm gonna go ahead and go to my favorite place for lunch and I'm gonna read this. I'm gonna go ahead and give this a start and see how I feel about it. And of course, I'm gonna enjoy my delicious French food, which I will try to film for you. And that is the plan. And then I'm gonna come back home and I really like to go outside to read a little bit, but I think it might be a little stormy this afternoon, but I don't know. I also, again, would really like to watch a movie and I slept in way too heavily this morning and I took a really long time getting ready. So I would really like to go eat because I'm fucking starving. And then I'll come back and fill you guys in. So I am back from my French food excursion and I do have to say that unfortunately they did not have my beef bourguignon as they usually do, so I had to try the seafood crepe and it was delicious and it tasted kind of like lobster bisque but with a crepe with like tomatoes. It was really well done. It was fucking delicious. Secondly, if you notice I have any like bumps lately, it's because I've been trying retinol for about a month and it is revolting. Like my skin is literally like absolutely not. And I don't know why it is about the chin area, but that's just, it's really blowing up right now. And I literally cannot get rid of them like with whatever I fucking do. So if you see that, don't judge me. I'm working on it since I am now 30. I was like, let me try some retinol. I could probably use it. Don't know if I'm gonna continue with it, but we'll see. Thirdly, I'm only like 50 pages into this, which is fucking pathetic, but I don't know. I didn't read as much as I expected to. I'm only on chapter 3, technically page 46. And I will say that one of the servers there, she came up to me and she was like, oh my God, I love that book. I just want to let you know. So she just read this book. She just finished it. She really enjoyed it. And I told her about my dilemma. And I said, does this happen in this book? And she goes, yep, it's the same condom debacle you're talking about. And she agreed with me. She's like, you know, that's a really good way to put it. And she goes, I can never put my finger on why those scenes bother me. And now I know why. So here I am just educating people. Anyway, this is starting off really fun. And since I'm only 50 pages and I can't really say too much, but it's basically the lowdown that I gave you. Following Elsie, she is a fake girlfriend at night and an adjunct professor during the day, and she's basically applying for a full-time professor position, but she's going up against somebody. And the last thing that I remember is that she sees Jack walk into the room for her like interview. So she's gonna have an interview. I don't think Jack is the guy who is like up for the job. I think that he's one of the people that's supposed to be interviewing her, but I don't know because I haven't really gotten to that part yet. But so far, so good. Now, I did talk to my mom for like a fucking hour on the phone when I got home, so a lot of time is actually freaking passed. And I really would have liked to spend that time reading, but also it's my mom, so I'm gonna talk to her. What I'm actually gonna do too is I need to go out for dinner eventually. I'm gonna go pick it up, and I'll probably just like let it sit in my fridge for a minute because I don't feel like going out when it's like too late in the afternoon. It's already 6, and so I'm gonna make an order to pick my food up by like 6:30, and then I'm just gonna probably let it sit here till like 7:30, and then I'll actually eat it. Today's just kind of a late day for me. That's usually not normal. I like to eat around like 5:30 to 6. Like I try to like eat at that time because then I try to go upstairs by like 9 and like wind down for bed and all that fun stuff. But today was just a really late day, so everything's just kind of like wonky. And again, no reading has been done since lunch. It was a late lunch. I feel like I should have gotten a lot farther than like 50 pages. I feel like that's like pathetic, but maybe I'm just being hard on myself because I haven't read in person in a while, like physically. I tend to read on my e-reader, and I feel like time can go faster in e-reader because you're not like holding the book. So I feel like it kind of has like I don't know. I feel like the e-reader helps me read faster sometimes because I don't realize how little I read. And so I feel pretty good about like that 10% that I read. I don't know. Maybe that's just what that is. Anyway, hopefully when I get to the 50% mark, I'll give you more of an update, but I'm hoping that would be tonight, but I don't know. I really feel like the urge to just sit and do nothing and watch the second Pirates of the Caribbean that I started last night, so I'm probably gonna do that. That's probably what's on the docket. I gotta be honest with myself here. We need to talk about this. On page 300 and 301, we have not our condom debacle, but a safe sex debacle. They've already like done some like sexy stuff, and then basically she thinks they're gonna have sex, and she's laying down in his bed, and she said, "I'm on the depot shot. I get it from Planned Parenthood, otherwise I couldn't afford it." And then he said, "Planned Parenthood's good people." And then she said, "Yeah, I shift closer. He's hard against my stomach, but nothing about him broadcasts impatience." And she said, "We don't have to like use a condom unless you have pubic lice." And then he said something I really appreciated. And he said, "I doubt condoms protect from pubic lice, sweetheart." You know what? This may be the book. This may be finally the book where we have some safe sex. I don't know. The problem is I'm getting hopeful. After I just read that, I'm getting hopeful that like we will have safe sex between two scientists finally. Overall, I'm really enjoying this so far. I think it's probably my favorite book I've read of hers, maybe to date. I really liked The Love Hypothesis, and I think I gave it 4 stars, and I really, really enjoyed it. But it was very cringy at some parts, and I kind of let it go because it was a Rilo fanfic. And that's why I think I enjoyed it so much too, is because I didn't take it so serious. But then since she's releasing all these other books that are like supposed to be like serious books about sciences, and they're like serious romances, they're not just like fan fiction turned into a book. And you know, I'm taking them more seriously, right? I think that's also why I'm grading her other stuff harder. But I'm really liking this so far. I really like the story. It makes a lot of sense. I'm getting so much personality out of these characters that I feel like I don't get in a lot of her other books. Like I can't really tell you much about them. They seem very carbon copied. And I would disagree. I think that these characters are actually very different from her other characters, but they're just like, they're incrementally so different, but it works for me. Jack is of course a steady sweetheart. You know, he's a nice big cinema role, but he's not like overtly scary like the other men who were like kind of mean, like people didn't want to talk to them. Like he's a very charismatic dude, but he's a very strong, silent type, but he's not silent all the time. I think he's just like a really healthy person with great boundaries. He has obviously a backstory I don't want to get into too much that explains a lot of why he has such good boundaries with people, but it's good because she doesn't have boundaries at all. She's a typical traumatized people pleaser who just people pleases her way through life. And I like that he's pointing that out to her. And I think that's a really good aspect in romances that we don't talk about so much, is like helping people through their trauma. Like they've obviously both been traumatized in different ways, and they're both helping each other through that trauma, but it's not like toxic. It's a very healthy way of, you know, expressing your trauma and helping somebody work through it and change who they are for the better. I can't really explain that without going into too much detail, but they're really doing a good job of that. And I really like that part of it. There's honestly too much for me to talk about because I really should have talked to you when I was at like the halfway mark. Now I'm like literally almost done because there has been a lot that's been going on. Like this is a very full plot. I feel like some of the other ones, in my opinion, like there's only been like a couple of moments, but this one's like they've been together for a lot of this book in so many different instances, and there's so many conversations, there's so much like character building that it's almost like hard to talk about like as a whole at the moment because there's been so much. But that's also a good thing. Like I'm really enjoying this. It's been the book that I want to read the most at the moment, but like I just don't have it on audio to listen to at work, so I could only read it at night. So it's been going a lot slower than I expected. Obviously the 48-hour thing did not happen, but what are you gonna do? I'm gonna continue on in this and I'll let you guys know, but I am really, really hoping they're gonna have some safe sex. Like I'm actually kind of like scared to continue because I've liked this book so much so far. far, but like if they have like one bad sex scene, like it could literally ruin the whole thing. I think this was happened in the past too, is like I just get so mad about the terrible sex practices that I can't. But their sexy time up until now has been very sexy and delicious, and I really enjoyed it. Maybe I'm an Allie Hazelwood stan. I mean, we will see. Maybe she's turned this around and my second chance for her is going well. Nope, not a single condom was used. So I was wrong. This was not Allie Hazelwood's first safe sex novel, unfortunately, but I was holding out hope. That has now been dashed. I decided to read this in a last-ditch effort to see if Allie Hazelwood can basically get out of her own way and write anything other than the love hypothesis over and over and over. Like, I really loved The Love Hypothesis. I think it was a really fun novel, and it was just kind of ridiculous and out there, and it was just fun and different. But I'm so tired of these same fucking iterations that they just all kind of blend together. However, I have to say that this is one of her better works. Like, this one definitely has some more unique characters. They are not typically Adam and Olive. They are definitely a little bit different, but only in very small ways. They also aren't terribly shit. Elsie and Jack are not terribly memorable characters, but they did like work well together. I think that they were a good fit for one another, even though I didn't really feel the romance. Elsie is the ultimate people pleaser who is invariably obsessed with Twilight and cheese. You know, God bless her. She's also a type 1 diabetic who, after 20 years with the same affliction, still cannot figure out how to like balance her insulin. Like, she literally cannot take care of herself. It's just kind of ridiculous. And then we have Jack, who doesn't really have much of a personality other than he's a complete cinnamon roll and just wants to take care of Elsie forever. Is it the worst qualities? No, but he's pretty forgettable. I actually really enjoyed the first half whenever Jack is trying to figure Elsie out and she's fake dating his brother and he's trying to like figure out what's going on and he's kind of like putting her on blast, and there's a lot of miscommunication, which is kind of frustrating, but at the same time it worked for the beginning of this, and it was kind of like a fun and endearing way of getting to know these characters and just kind of seeing the tension there and the funny comical moments of like them being stuck in these situations, like just worked for the novel. And the second half kind of teetered out, and then there was a lot of sexy times, and then like one big academic reveal at the end, and then the ending was just kind of like whatever. Like, the epilogue was like, it could have been like better. Like, I liked one of the parts of the epilogue that involved Jello, but other than that, like, I was like, this is very like lackluster. I really enjoyed the Twilight references, and I enjoyed that our OG couple, Adam and Olive, cameoed in this, and they were part of a big scene in the book. But other than that, like, it just really fell flat for me, and again, it's just so repetitive of her other works. I'm so tired of these women in STEM who are just so fucking oblivious. Like, Jack tells her how many times, like 3 or 4 times, that he like wants to go out with her, like wants to take her on a date, and she's like, you mean like you want to kill me? What the fuck? You already stayed at the man's house. You know he doesn't want to murder you. Why the fuck would you even say that? Are you that fucking dumb? And then after they've had sex the next morning, he gets morning wood, and she's like, oh my god, I wonder if he just has to pee. Doesn't that happen when men have to pee in the morning? You are a PhD physicist. It's morning wood. It's normal biological function. He doesn't have to fucking pee. I mean, he might have to pee, but like, that is not why he has an erection. That's what I'm saying. Like, these very smart, educated women say the dumbest fucking things. Like, the dumbest fucking things, and the dumbest fucking thoughts I've ever read in my life. Like, it's just so unbelievable. I am waiting for Allie Hazelwood to finally fucking write a strong, independent woman in STEM who doesn't need to be fucking rescued all the fucking time. We don't need a rich, academic, horse-cocked, colossal man to rescue you from your shitty life in STEM and to give you like a better position and shit. I'm so tired of the same fucking tropes. I'm so tired of the big-ass man and the small lady. And listen, she's medium-sized in this. Again, I don't think we need to point out her size at all, but she was medium build and he was still fucking colossal. How about we get a short king in this bitch? Give me a short king. How about we have a tall Amazon-like woman who is just beautiful and stunning and gorgeous. And then on top of that, let's put her in STEM and make her smart as shit and make her know her worth. And she doesn't need fucking rescuing. Also, could we get a fucking person of color in any of these books? Like, I don't know any person of color throughout this entire thing. There was like literally one Greek wife. I don't know if that would count as a person of color. And again, not a single fucking condom was used. And at this point, like, I just think that Hazelwood should write closed door romances. Like, we don't need her smut, because this was probably one of her like least cringy versions of smut, but there were definitely some parts where I was just like, what the fuck? You know, like she must have finally gotten it, because she definitely wrote better sex scenes in this, but I just don't think those are her strong suit, and I don't think she'd be writing open door romances. I don't think that we need to see the sex between her characters. I really don't think we do. That would definitely eliminate a lot of my issues that I have with her novels in the first place, because again, 2 scientists and not 1 condom. It's just so frustrating. I don't know why this makes me so mad. I think again, it's just the fact that they're scientists. Like, I just hold scientists in a higher esteem. They're very smart, they're very intelligent, they're very educated. Use a fucking condom, please.
Pay attention, please.
And I think that's why I'm just harder on her books. You're writing about very smart people who should fucking know better. Anyway, was it successful? I don't really know. I'm gonna probably give this 3.5 stars. I think that's quite generous. I think no matter what, like, I went into this with good intentions. I really just tried to enjoy it, and I did enjoy a lot of it. But there are so many fucking moments in here that just make me so irrationally angry at like the absolute dumbness of some of our characters, always the fucking female characters, and how just like uncharacteristic the male heroes are. Like, I'm so tired of these same tropes. Like, I really was just giving her a chance, and she still let me down. Like, it was better than some of her other books, especially the novellas that like have absolutely no characterization at all, and they're so fucking boring. This at least was like entertaining, and I like some parts of it, especially the first half. But again, I just didn't really feel the romance. I don't really root for these characters, and at this point, like, please just stop writing about STEM, or at least write one of the characters not in STEM. Like, make the hero like a fucking policeman or something. Like, I understand you want to write what you know, and I appreciate that she's also touching on different forms of sciences. I think that's fucking rad. I think it's cool to show that, but like, can you make, I don't know, like a strong female character for once who isn't an oblivious dumbass who thinks that like the world needs to come out and save them because working in STEM is so hard? I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is a very male dominated field, and I'm sure that they deal with all this kind of garbage, but also, can we have more of a feel good book? I'm so tired of these like academic fucking demons like ruining a woman's career. Can we just have a different fucking trope, please? Like, just literally anything. I may have been a little harsh, but after I finished it this morning, I've really just been thinking about it, and I just kind of went back and reread some parts that really bothered me, and I'm trying to like identify why they bother me, and I think I've gotten to like the heart of a lot of it. So hopefully this all makes sense, and if not, I'm very sorry if I ruined a book for you. I try to keep it as spoiler free as possible, but I hope that you give this a shot for yourself and see if you like it. I just don't really know if Hazelwood's the girl for me. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching and being along this journey. If there's anybody you'd like me to read, go ahead and drop it down below. I'll talk to you guys all very, very soon.